unique.
Crazy.
Uh,
I was, I was very emotional,
I
embarrassed. But
Actually, I recorded a part of the way that the people appreciated, the whole film. And if you would like, I can give you tomorrow a small copy. It's just 4 or 5 minutes, but I
okay, I
think
might be
that
embarrassed, but that's very kind of you. Perhaps you can talk to Karen
tomorrow
in the
I'm having
hall.
also the print interview, so I will be around.
Okay, very good,
Uh-huh.
very good. Thank you for that,
No,
and
and
I'm glad you were there for that screening. That was
it was a unique
crazy. Yeah.
it was a unique
I mean, I
experience.
wonder if the Spanish have a very, because of Catholicism and all that. I don't know. It's very interesting.
I think
Something
I think
that
probably
happened that night.
no. The film has a kind of honesty that it doesn't have to do with the way that the Spanish people find religion. It doesn't have to do with the way that they react about sex. It doesn't have to do with people with disabilities. It's all of these things together and nothing at all at the same time.
Oh, it's well put.
It sounds very poetic, exactly as your character.
Ah.
And that brings me also to the first question. Because your character is a poet, not even because of his writing, in heart, what was the most poetic thing that he has done for you
In this film or in my life?
in your life?
Oh, I would think that it would be my family. My mother raising me pretty much alone, and teaching me by example the value of women, and that was a good lesson to learn early on.
It's very difficult for everybody saying the word "I love you," and your character says it all the time. So why do you think that in general people they can't express themselves, they can't express them feelings? Was that character helpful for you understanding the reason?
I'm not sure. I guess that I'm around people who tell each other they love each other a lot. I'm lucky that way, perhaps. I understand that some people don't say it a lot. It's a very misunderstood term, I think, love. But there are so many different kinds of love, and just a way of showing kindness. I think when you care for someone. If people say it less nowadays, I don't know if we blame technology. I'm not sure what we would blame. The modern age is a very tricky one. There are so many choices, and we're constantly told that we're not good looking enough, and that our car isn't big enough, and that our house isn't good enough, and our wife isn't pretty enough, or whatever. So maybe that distances us more. I'm not sure. That's a difficult question, but a good one.
Also, your character feels guilty all the time. That's why he goes to church non-stop, and he also asks the priest to forgive him because he wants to fire somebody. So, hypothetically, if you had the opportunity of asking the excuse of a priest for something, what would that be?
Wow, these are great questions, my friend. I would say, if I could ask forgiveness for something, it probably would be someone in the past who I, maybe mistreated, or maybe it would be for something that I haven't yet done, like Mark, A quote in advance, as he would say. I try not to live in too much guilt, and I try to be kind to people as best I can. This actually has been a difficult road. I often lose my patience in the publicity arm of things, but I guess I would just. Wow, I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question. I wish I could be more eloquent about it.
I don't know if you believe in God, but because of your character, I have also one more question about
Yes.
God. If you could find a God that would have a sense of humor, what would you ask him? And if you had only 1 minute, only for one question.
Well, there's the obvious, what is the meaning of life, but I don't even know that God could answer that, or a God. I think I would probably, it would probably have to do with understanding women more, because, they're a complicated bunch compared to us men who are pretty simple. So it'd probably be advice about women, more than likely. Yes.
If love is a journey, are you still in this boat?
Certainly. Again, there's lots of kinds of love. It's a struggle every day, but I'm trying to learn an unconditional kind of love towards those around me. These are deep questions, I have to say, but I think that it's probably more difficult to try to lead an honorable life, and I can't say that I am. I'm doing my best. It's almost easier to be angry and upset all the time. I certainly feel that, but I think that the higher road is to find a way to have patience for those around you, to be kind to everyone you come across, and just to keep punching.
I think that the only fear that your character has is sex. And there's also a very funny line in the film that he talks with the lady that goes him to the other house to have, for the first time in his life, sex. And, he has to come in terms with that kind of fear. Have you ever experienced a similar ridiculous situation in your life?
Have I ever experienced a ridiculous situation?
Yeah.
Oh, certainly. And I would argue that Mark is afraid of more than sex. I feel like he is afraid of death and of post-polio syndrome, which can come on later in life. And I feel he's afraid of not being able to find his way as a writer, not have a good career, to not find someone to love. I think is a fear of his. But sex, I guess, is out there and in front. I've had a lot of ridiculous situations in my life. I've been frightened a lot of times. I prefer to keep some of that private. Yes.
The way you portrayed your character, it reminded me a lot of a small child trapped in a body. How difficult it was for you finding a way to express his feelings just by moving your eyes and with the tone of your voice?
Yes, well, I tried not to think of myself as just a talking head. I think that as an actor, you have to get out of your own body in a scene and focus on the other person. So once I had the physical side of Mark figured out and made it second nature and made it in my bones, his voice and his body, I could just concentrate on the other actor, and I would forget that I was a horizontal person and just be a man, just be a human being, which Mark was in the scene. So, yes.
Exactly the way that you portrayed your character, it reminded me a lot of the book of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross on Death and Dying, because there are these 6 steps of going to death,
Denial.
and exactly, and it helps you come in terms with what you have to experience. I don't know if you were familiar with the book, but now I'm guessing that you are. And I would like to ask you if you are afraid of death, and if it was also a narrative hook for you for doing this character.
Certainly, I'm fairly philosophical about death. It's our greatest gift ultimately. I think is to on some level, it makes everything matter. If we all lived forever, nothing would matter at all. But I must say, when the earthquake happened in 1994 and I was awakened by the house shaking, I suddenly was very afraid of dying, even though I'd always kind of felt like, whenever my time comes, that's fine. So it's a back and forth for sure. I don't know anyone who's not somewhat afraid of death. I would think anyone who's happy to be alive has to be a little bit afraid of death, because it can be an enjoyable trip, and I don't want it to end yet.
Have you ever visited Greece?
No, but I would like to.
And now with the crisis, it's not as good as it used to be. But
oh, man, I hope that things are okay by the border, yeah.
it won't, but
Well, I hope so.
let's cross our fingers.
Let's do.
Thinking positive can change really our life, and that's also the main theme of the film.
Yes, indeed. You said Mark was a little boy trapped in a man's body, and I think he often felt that way in his autobiography. He was partly afraid of growing up and taking responsibility. I think this movie's about that, too.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. What
nice
great questions. You stumped me. It was good.
You stamped me with your performance.
Oh, thank you, my friend.
If you don't mind, can we take a picture together?
Of course, if it's fine with everybody.
Thank you so much.